Hi there, it's Kathy again. This is one of my favorite videos, how to follow the money without losing your mind. You know, we have many more resources today, but fewer choices. What can we do about it? Hi, Kathy again here, and welcome to my navigational platform that helps you understand what's going on and how to make decisions before your health and money run out. You know, in my career, I guided, assisted thousands of elders, families, as well as professionals. I've written and published multiple books, and I've spoken at a variety of conferences, workshops, but probably my most important role over the years was as a family caregiver. That journey is one, if you've never taken, it's hard to understand. I now run retreats for family caregivers as well as professionals on the front lines, those of us who are really burnt out. I know how the games are played, and I know how to play the games. And today we are in a time where aging, or the aging process, is colliding with economic realities, workforce shortages, and systems that were never, ever designed for this level of complexity. Think about it. Do you believe you're going to make a thoughtful, informed care decision when the time comes? Well, you won't. You'll be rushed, you'll be pressured, and you will be moved through systems designed to prioritize speed, occupancy, and revenue. You know, if you don't understand this, it's not your failure, it's not a family failure, it's just how the system operates. So let me share something with you. Back in the 1990s, I was a caregiver for parents, two at the same time. One with early Alzheimer's, the other with multiple hospitalization and other medical issues. I was in my 30s. There were fewer formal resources, fewer branded programs, fewer specialized services. Yet we could take a little of this and a little of that, and we could package it into a functional care approach that made sense for us, for the family, for the person, for the moment. Today, we have many more resources, but fewer options. Why? Because we've lost flexibility, we've lost integration, and we've lost the ability to build something that fits around the individual. We have an explosion of home care agencies, care managers, assisted living communities, rehab centers, memory care units, placement services. It is endless. But instead of expanding meaningful choice, something else has happened. Care has been unbundled, fragmented, monetized, and this has changed everything. We've moved from a packaged care bundle to piecemeal decisions. So in the past, we could actually assemble care into a coherent whole. Now it's delivered as separate services through separate providers, all with separate financial incentives. Each provider addresses a piece of your problem, and no single provider is responsible for the bigger picture or the whole picture. You are. And yet, think about it. Most families are expected to make decisions as if someone is overseeing the whole thing. Remember that any decision you make still sits within these same three realities of health, what is actually going on, and finances, and housing. With health, this is still a foundation, but it's more and more fragmented. Hospital says one thing, rehab says another, primary care provider often doesn't even know the person is in the hospital and is out of the loop. Clinical information is not only complex, it's distributed across multiple silos. So, who is defining the situation, and what happens if you accept their definition? Finance. Who's getting paid? How? Here's where the unbundled systems and services become visible, as each piece of care has its own billing structure, its own timelines, its own revenue model. Hospitals are paid to move people through. They're paid by throughput. Rehab facilities are paid per day or per episode. So it's more, again, to stabilize and move on. Stabilize and move on. Private home care is paid by the hour. More hours, more revenue. And placement services are paid by the providers they recommend. They're paid a commission. Individually, each model has its pluses and minuses. Collectively, they create a referral-driven flow where decisions are influenced not just by need, but what fits the individual business model for the next provider. So think about it. Follow the money question. Is the recommendation before me solving the problem or just moving us to the next billable step? We see this in the housing area where fragmentation can often hit the hardest. You know, housing used to be something all of us, families, could adapt around the individual. Now it comes prepackaged in a demonstrated, it comes forward as assisted living with its multiple tiers, memory care units, and skilled nursing levels. Each has a set pricing, set services, and set limitations. And here's the critical shift. You no longer are building care around a life. You are fitting a life into pre-built care models. Realize that these facilities do need occupancy. The agencies do need hours. And the systems do rely on throughput. So recommendations you're getting are directional. They are not neutral. So in following the money question, ask, who benefits if we choose this setting? And what gaps will still remain? The hidden reality is that every provider and every recommendation holds only a piece. And this is the area, this is the part where we as families struggle. The hospital will stabilize a loved one, but does it manage long term? It's a handoff. The rehab facility improves function, but within a certain set of time limits. The home care aide supports the individual but does not coordinate care needs. The facilities house your loved one but do not manage the health and medical well, especially in complex care situations. So each one is part of the solution, but none of them alone is the solution. You are the only one that is seeing the whole. So you wonder why you're overwhelmed, right? So how do you follow money without getting overwhelmed? Well, it's not about becoming suspicious of everyone. It's not about becoming aware. No, it probably is. It's not about being suspicious of everyone. It's about awareness of the structure you're operating in. And do this in 3 different ways. First, shift from what you are being told. 2, how does the system work for me? Instead of reacting to each recommendation, step back and ask, what role does this person or provider play? What are they responsible for? What are they not responsible for? What happens after their piece is done? What am I paying for this? And is it worth it? Is it going to help me toward a solution or just create more chaos? Next, ask an important question. If you don't know, how are you paid? Not as an accusation, but through a lens, because payment models explain timing, urgency, your financial responsibility and scope of recommendations, and theirs. So this is critical. Find out, follow the money. Now look for what's missing. Every recommendation solves something, but what does it not solve? What will we still need after this? Who's thinking about that part? And finally, now you're rebuilding the package yourself. This is the return to what worked decades ago, but it now requires intention. You may need to combine services across providers. Very typically, that's what it takes. Fill gaps no one is addressing. Blend payers with insurance and private pay, depending on what your situation is. And most importantly, slow decisions down, just enough to see clearly. So in other words, you become the integrator in a system that no longer integrates. We did not lose options because there were fewer services. We lost options because care is no longer designed as a whole. It is delivered in parts, and those parts are disconnected. How they are connected is through referrals, revenue, and operational flow, not by your long-term outcome. That doesn't matter. It's the end-all. You don't need to fight every provider. You don't need to distrust the system intentionally. But you do need to understand that every provider is a piece. Each recommendation has a driver, a financial driver, and no one addresses the full picture unless you do. Yes, today we have more resources, but they come pre-structured, pre-priced, and often pre-directed. Follow the money. See the system. Then you can rebuild the care around the person and not the pieces.